inner sins. And we talked about arrogance, one of the biggest inner sins. We talked about the love of the world. We talked about ungratefulness. And yesterday we talked about lust. Among the top 5 spiritual diseases with the scholars protection, the 5th one is anger. Sometimes we consider anger as not that big of a sin. We feel that other sins we need to hide from people. Anger is fine, even if somebody knows that I'm an angry person. It doesn't matter too much. But the fact of the matter is, if you look at the Quran and the Hadith, that among the many sins that we do, anger is one of the worst ones. The Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Ghazabu yufsidul iman. Anger destroys your iman. So anger destroys the iman. And another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said that shaitan runs in the body of an angry person the way blood runs in his body. So if you look at these things, if you look at these blessed ahadiths, anger is not that small of a sin that we think it is. In fact, it is one of the biggest sins that we do. That is why the blessed Prophet ﷺ said that the best one among you is the one for whom it takes the longest period of time to get angry. You really, really have to actually force me into becoming angry. So the best one among you is the one for whom it takes a long period of time to become angry. And it takes a very short period for him to leave his anger. So the reality of the matter is that anger is a serious sin. When we do lustful act, na'udzubillah, we make sure nobody knows about this. But if you compare lust and anger, anger ends up being the bigger of the two sins. The scholars have said that there are 3 big differences between lust and anger, the sin of lust and the sin of anger. And the first difference is that lust decreases as age increases. But anger actually does not decrease as age increases. Sometimes, as the age increases, the anger also increases. So the first difference between anger and lust is that anger increases with age, lust decreases with age. The second difference between anger and lust, anger is a contagious disease. When one person in the family is angry all the time, other people in the family also become angry people. Because when somebody is always facing anger, then he's venting anger also. So anger is a contagious disease. It makes other people also angry. That is why sometimes we see that we go to school and the teacher is angry for no reason. And why is the teacher angry for no reason? Because he had faced some anger before coming to school. So now he is venting his own anger. So anger is a contagious disease. Lust is not a contagious disease. If somebody is doing a sin of lust, he's probably hiding it, nobody else knows about it. So the 3 main differences between anger and lust. that anger increases with age, lust decreases with age. Anger is a contagious disease, lust is not a contagious disease. And the third and the major difference, the end of anger and the end of lust. What is the end of lust? If you are a person, if we are someone who has a lot of lust, the end thing, the end goal that we would have is to fornicate, is to do zina. But if you're an angry person, what is the end? The end is to kill another person. So if you look at these three differences, it seems that anger is a bigger sin. And it is this anger that when you suppress this anger, Allah has promised you the gift that nobody else gets except for the wali of Allah. Allah says in the Quran, وَالْقَاضِمِينَ الْغَيْظِ, the one who suppresses his anger. وَعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ, and he forgives others. وَاللَّهُ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ, Allah loves such good doers. So the promise for the one who suppresses his anger is so enormous. Allah has promised His love for the one who suppresses his anger. And to attain the love of Allah, is not an easy thing. Read the books of the Mashayikh. Somebody who wanted to attain the love of Allah did his tahajjud prayers for 30 years. And people who wanted to attain the love of Allah, some of them read the Quran for so many years. So many people did many different acts of worship to attain this closeness with Allah. And Allah promises that same closeness to this one man who suppresses his anger. So the reward for suppressing the anger is also enormous. So there was this one Shaykh in the Indian subcontinent. His name was Shaykh Mirza Mazhar Jane Jana Rahimahullah. And the Shaykh was loved by the people of India. Millions of people were his followers and his students. And people would, actually would die to even have a glance at the Shaykh. Such Allah had given him such a big, reputation and such love in the hearts of people. But his wife did not have the same respect. So sometimes she would fight with the Shaykh. Sometimes she would say very harsh words. The reality is nobody's a Shaykh in the home, by the way. So the wife used to be very upset sometimes. She had no respect at all. And here people in the whole of India were crazy about it. People who traveled so long distances just to have a look at the Shaykh. And the condition of the wife was, she would scream at him. She would say the worst words that you can't even mention. So once, she was screaming at the Shaykh. And one of the students of the Shaykh heard it. He was shocked. That is this how she talks with my Shaykh? Allahu Akbar. So when he heard all of this, he got very upset. He was like angry. So when he met with the Shaykh, he went up to the Shaykh. He said, Shaykh, this is your wife. Allahu Akbar. You get rid of her. She doesn't know what your status is. Just get rid of her. There's no one in India, there's no woman in India who will not be willing to marry you. We will get you married to a better woman. She will take very good care of you. So you don't have to worry about this, just get rid of her. She doesn't know what your status is. So the Shaykh heard all of this speech, and then he said, are you done with your speech? And he said, yes, Shaykh, I am done with whatever I have to say. And the Shaykh said, you know what? The status that you are talking about, that Allah has given me, it is because I have shown patience to her anger. That is why I have gotten that status from Allah. So is no disease of the heart. It is one of the biggest diseases of the heart. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us suppress this anger. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us in omitting all of these spiritual diseases from our heart. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Salatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina al-Anbiya wal-Mursaleen. Allahumma inna nas'aluka ilman nafi'a wa 'amalan mutaqabbala wa lisanan zakiran wa qalban khashi'an wa rizqan wasi'an wa shifaan min kulli da'. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala habibihi Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in bi rahmatika